Surviving in this gong show world or what? How's the old straw hat, eh? That's the... Ooh, already. Tell you, we're getting a little bit smoother every time. All right. Coming on down to earth here. I just ask the creator to bless these cards. Be with us for the next few minutes while we sieve through our thoughts, reflect on ourselves and society, and I just ask that you bring us some insight. You know, we're thankful for all the good and all the bad. I'm just happy to be here, right? North, south, east, west, 4 directions in the 4 seasons. All right. Okay. All right. First card, the Hermit. So, somebody out there's been in recoup mode. Spending a lot of time at home or in their man cave, in their home base, refueling. Spend a lot of time looking within, soul searching, and finding the self, and perhaps finding a new path. Is a good thing to do. You know, sometimes we need to take a step back and get a new, fresh perspective, get fresh eyes on our problems. You know, not too often we get caught up trying to solve our problems. And sometimes the solution we're looking for is right in front of our face, but we're staring so hard at it, working so hard trying to find a solution that we miss it. So, you know, sometimes it's good to take a step back, recluse, go over what you have, do an inventory, you know, take some time for yourself, you know. Tell us some more, universe. Tell us some more. The Hierophant. Hermit and the Hierophant. So maybe somebody, whoever you are, you've been definitely doing some soul searching. I think you're probably on a spiritual quest of some sort. I get the feeling you maybe... You probably had a religious upbringing, whoever you are. Sorry, I'm just kind of cluing in on this now. Had a religious upbringing, and you spent the last while in hermit mode, sort of rebranding yourself. Seeking answers to your spiritual questions outside of the church you were brought up with. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. All churches lead to the same place, All religious roads are an attempt to map the trail to the same place. Right? The more trails we know how to get there, the the easier it is for us to get there, wherever there is. Dude, King of Wands. Interesting. King of Wands. King of Wands always represents... Pardon me. Pump the brakes. Rewind for a sec. I had that all wrong. Sorry about that. I was treating the King of Wands like he was the King of Swords. Let's get this thing back on track. So, my friend, whoever you are, soul searching, religious background, no, you're coming up with an idea. You've got a egg in the nest that you're nurturing. Maybe maybe as you come out of your hermit mode, you're looking to the church for some spiritual guidance or some direction in how to make this unfold for you. Because King of Wands is, successful, entrepreneurial, take chances at, creativity and searching out ideas and exploring new options and stuff. So you probably spend a lot of time thinking about that kind of stuff. Is hermit mode. I spend a lot of time myself in hermit mode. I love it. Love it. So we got the Hermit, we got the Hierophant, we got the King of Wands. Hey, what do we see here? What do we see here? Can you give us some insights? What do we need to do, right? What else we need? We need some more information, I think. Because that kind of pertains to a lot of people. A lot of people had religious upbringings and spend some time soul searching, finding themselves, exploring their skills and potential. But you got to be careful, though, whomever you are, because there's a betrayal in your near future. A big disappointment. You got the Five of Cups here. That's Five of Cups. Five of Cups is a disappointment card, or, like you're pursuing something and it's not going to work out, or somebody's done you wrong, pulled the wool over your eyes. Or that betrayal could mean the ultimate betrayal that we're all experiencing from our government and all governments. The ultimate betrayal. Yeah. Because we just poor folk, man. We're just poor folk trying to get along. Our universe. With some kind of funky news there. Can you give us a little bit more insight on this Five of Cups? Tell us about this betrayal. What's going on with that? Who's betraying who? The collective needs to know. Shine some light on this mystery, please. S'il vous plaît. What do we got here? Oh, excuse me. Oh, strength in reverse. I don't like reverse cards. Yeah, so somebody out there's been betrayed. I think this might be a different person here altogether. Somebody out there's been seriously betrayed, very disappointed. And their strength is just sapped because of it. It's, you can't let things like that grind your mind. Don't let them consume you. Disappointment. It's a tough scene when we get our hopes up for something, or we have a plan of how we want things to work out in our life, and life takes a different road, it's good to be flexible. Be malleable in the brain. Learn to find excitement in the uncertainty of things, and learn to dress those disappointed feelings in, rose-colored, glasses. Rose-colored glasses. I never did like that term. Rose-colored glasses. No, but because this is like the quantum entanglement theory spread across everything. It's like, if you're disappointed about something, if somebody's betrayed you, if something's not gone your way, if life has taken a shit turn for the worse, take a step back, get a different perspective. Be the hermit. Be the hermit for as long as it takes to get your feet back on the ground. You're no good to yourself or to anybody around you. If you're all running around in a fluster, freaking out, and all energies directed all over the place. As we need to focus. We need to bring all of the energies into line. You know what I'm saying? Like, when life pushes you, pull. When life pulls you, push. That's how you find the flow, That's how you find the flow. That's how you find the four wands, That's where the flow exists. Right there. Stability, happy family, structure, That's where we're headed. That's where we want to get to. We want to get out of this. Let's get out of this. Whoever you are, or whoever you've been betrayed with your sapped strength, let's move forward, okay? Let's get onto this Four of Wands and start putting things back together, It's a little change of perspective. If you squint your eyes hard enough, you'll find that somewhere in that recipe is your solution. It is every time. That's what quantum understanding is all about. It's finding that balance between the two. A good exercise I like to do is this. And this is good. Take this with you. If you take anything out of this reading, take this one with you. Every time in life, when you see something, a characteristic of somebody else, something that bothers you, anything, the way somebody rolls their R's in the lineup at the bank, or the way somebody shuffles when they walk, or anything, the how loud somebody talks on the bus, anything, no matter what it is, if it sticks out to you, if you find your mind settling on it for a second and making an opinion on it, whatever it is, there's a reason that sticks out, Like, example, if I'm sitting in a room and I'm really, really irritated because some chump sandwich is sitting on the chair over there, flapping his gums in the wind, fucking swinging his head around, and I'm just sitting here shaking because I want to get up and punch this guy, but it's not politically correct or polite or to do so, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That Monday morning feeling at the water cooler when that, pear-shaped guy that smells like cat piss, rubs his greasy arm up against you while you're trying to get a drink of water, and you just start shaking a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. That shit. When I was a kid, I went to this weird flea market. I got this plastic thing. It was like a It was filled with water or whatever. It was kind of like made out of elastics. It was kind of a long tube. I'm gonna roll over on it. It sounds terrible. I mean, how do I describe it? Oh, well, straight up as is. Anyway, it was a joke thing. You grab this thing, and as soon as you grab it, it would slip out of your hand, right? Because it would, you couldn't just grab it. There was no way to apply brute force to get control of this thing. It would just slip out of your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips out, right? Sometimes that's how we have to approach our success. You can't just, reach in and grab it and have it, because it'll slip out of your hands. It's the kind of thing that you have to gently guide in the right direction, You got to move with it. You got to be like water and carry your dreams in the direction that you want to go. You end up chasing them away if you try too hard to grab them. There's no flow there. Sometimes you need to force things, but sometimes you need to flow things. You know what I mean? So don't be too cautious, right? Don't be too cautious. Don't get too attached to the material things. Because at the end of the day, man, at the end of this life, you can't take it with you. You can't take any of this shit with you. Anything that bothers you, characteristics in other people, take that and turn it inward. The only reason that sticks out in your mind at all is the equal opposite. Perhaps to a lesser degree, but this is a way that we can check our own selves. I mean, it's an opportunity. I look forward to being irritated by somebody, because that's my next clue on what I need to work on within myself. That obnoxious guy, is driving me nuts in the lineup or whatever. That's my own obnoxious guy inside that's recognizing that. That's why it sticks out to me. I just always use that as a check. Everything that pisses you off, turn it in. The only reason you recognize it is because that's what you need to work on next. Right? Ooh, doesn't that one just hit home? You start thinking about it? But it's good, because it's the most accurate way that we can work on our own self-growth. So, anyway, we got off track there, but, so somebody's been betrayed. Their strength has been sapped because of it. He's probably spending a lot of time dwelling, thinking about it. Oh, you got to pivot that mind, man. Because you want to get to this Four of Wands. You want to get your life back. And you can do so by realizing that it was perhaps a welcome betrayal to some extent, or whatever it is. You may not notice it yet, but look hard, because somewhere in there is the way out. Every crap situation is your springboard to where you were trying to get to. You gotta think positive. There's no wrong paths, just different ones. Right? Gotta be flexible. Gotta be willing to roll with the punches, Roll with the punches. What did Bruce Lee say? When you approach life, you got to be like water. When you pour water into the vase, it takes the shape of the vase. When you pour water into a cup, it takes the shape of a cup. You gotta be water. Gotta take the shape of the environment that you're presented. Don't learn, make yourself at home in any situation. All right? All right, there's a little positive feedback there, a little something or something. A little bit of good in this bad, a little bit of bad for the good. Ooh, what do we got here? 4 Pentacles, that's where we're headed. I think it's going to look better, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The fruits of your labor have started to come in, you know? You've got a bit of an abundance. You've got a bit of abundance, but don't be too cautious, you know? You know, your efforts have paid off and you've got a little bit of extra and it feels good. No, but don't cling to it, right? Oh, this is a weird example. I always think about this. No, which is why I get so worked up when I think about how the wealthy elite in this world spend their money. Not all of them, but many of them. It just drives me nuts. How anybody could be sitting on such astronomical amounts of money and choose not to help the fellow man with it. Worse yet, further increase the size of their astronomical amount of money at the further expense of your fellow man. Shame on you. But you're acting like it's 4 Pentacles, man, you rich buggers. You know, you got a fat stack. Don't hold on to it too tight, man. Can't take it with you when you go. Sure, you could leave it to your kids. You know, I get that. But you sitting on $100 billion, man, that's enough money for your kids. All right? You've taken it a little far, you know what I mean? Right? You rigged the lottery to win the lottery, so you did it. You know, you high-five your buddies. Hey, I rigged the lottery and I won. I'm going to do it again next weekend. Oh, you bad guy, you. And what do? Jump in there and do it again. Right? And then some people don't just take it a little far. Well, maybe we'll do it a second time. Oh, no, that felt so good to rig the lottery and win it. Well, maybe we'll do it a third time. Right? Don't be that clown that is, for the last 3 years has been doing that non-stop. You know, if that's you, you're a psychopath and you're ridiculous. You know, get control of yourself. Yes, it feels good. You know, but if you're in the business of mass frauding inflated currency into your own possession without any regard for the damage that does to the population. Oh, it's $1 billion here, $1 billion there, a few billion here. Like, don't get so complacent, guys. That's a lot of money. That's enough money to buy a poor country. Don't throw those numbers around all like it's not, you know. Most of you got to those numbers. Yeah. Not saying all of you, you know. Many people out there earn their fair way and whatnot, but I tell you, if you're going into the bank and borrowing $400 million off of the equity from your, you know, $20 million mansion that you claimed was $500 million, and then taking that money from the bank the moment you get it and investing it at another bank or applying for the same, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for taking opportunities. Don't get me wrong, man. Like, I mean, I'm all for it. But, you know, shy of being a psychopath, have a little bit of ethical restraint when it comes to getting carried away, you know? Example. I'll give you an example of a time when I took it too far. Many moons ago, I used to sell illicit substances to some people, and these people really are into dumpster diving because they're often unemployed and hooked on drugs, and yeah. So I would pay this guy occasionally to go to the dumpster at Bed Bath & Beyond on a Thursday, specifically when they throw out all of their exchange stuff into the dumpster. And sometimes it was a gold mine to be full to the brim with vacuum cleaners, ready to get thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff out of there, right? Well, one time right before Christmas, this is many moons ago, I was walking by there and I took a glance in the dumpster, and get this. There was 10 comforter blankets, all in package, 100% clean, brand new, zero issues. Lord knows, I have no idea why they were in there. 10 of them. And they were the nicest blankets. They were all, what was it? Yugo? They're all Yugo? Yes. Top-notch name brand. They were like $400 or $500 each. It was right before Christmas. I'm the first one to walk up to the dumpster, and there's 9 of them in there. So, I mean, how stoked was I? I mean, I got myself a new comforter. Christmas presents are covered. I'm going to be handing these things out, and they are so nice, right? But I got a little carried away, you know? I had a home. I had a place to stay at Christmas. I had a warm furnace beside me. Did I need to take 8 of the 9 blankets for myself? No, that was ridiculous. I mean, it felt good to score all that. But, then I'm sitting at home, with 9 blankets thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I left 1 in there at least. But, it is Christmas. And I'm sure some other people might have liked to grab one. All I'm saying is have a little forethought. Everybody, we forgive. We all make mistakes. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Grabbed 8 blankets when I shouldn't have. Maybe you're a rich guy. You made a mistake and grabbed an extra 8 billion. Oops. Got a little carried away, right? Kind of forgot how much a billion is. It's kind of a lot of money. Sort of enough to sway the economy of an entire nation, Kind of enough to tip the poverty scale for thousands and thousands and thousands of people making minimum wage, right? I mean, we'll just have this extra billion sitting in an account offshore. Not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Especially when you double loaned it off of fucking, a bank doing shady fraud shit that you get away with because everybody else is. All right. Taking advantage, sitting on fat fucking stacks while everybody else's insurance rates go through the roof and half people can't even get a fucking mortgage because all the money was borrowed out before it even gets to the people that it was intended for. $500 million going to a country to loan out it from the banks for mortgages for a year. They give the wealthy elite priority, and they take $450 million of it, leaving 50 for the rest of the people. You guys already have money, man. Take a moment, really think about that. I mean, I know some of you are psychopaths that goes in and wearing out the other. You don't give a shit. All right? So go ahead. You guys can go fucking sit on your thumb and rotate. But for those of you that are on the fence that have consciousness, and many of you that are stuck in a rock and a hard place, like, ooh, I'm in this situation. You know, I get it. I get it. And I'm pleading with the poor people of the world to embrace this reality, save the economy, and do it, I want to say professionally, but I mean do it maturely, you know? No, we got to give these rich people a safe exit if we're going to save everything. And by save everything, I mean, you know, preserve sovereignty and equality, because that's what's on the line. You know, that's what's on the line. When you start talking digital IDs and one world government and stuff, and people are like, oh, saves you, protects you against, you know, scammers and stuff. But people fail to see the big picture. You know, we're sheep, right? We're sheep. And like anything else, it's one little thing at a time. But consider this, okay? How many times in life have you gotten a good idea, a really good idea, and you just didn't have the, you know, you didn't have the money to launch the idea? All right? You didn't have the startup money. You got a good idea, but you were too poor to make it happen. So you either did one of two things. You kept it quietly inside, you know, until eventually somebody else just invents it, or you open your mouth and then somebody else takes it and runs with it. It's happened to many people. Right now, in a world where we have been robbed, you know, with digital IDs, and we're, you know, stuck in a glass ceiling, and we're all poor and pretending that we're happy, well, yada, 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 yada. Okay, anyway, I got off on a rant there going on. That tends to happen, you know. That tends to happen on this channel. Sometimes, you know, we don't like to sugarcoat shit. Sometimes we're a little bit cynical. Sometimes we're a little bit crass. That's just the way it is. You know, it's all in the name of keeping it real, you know, keeping it straight. And sometimes we need a little rational emotive therapy, you know, a drill sergeant to wake us up. All right? A little wake-up call. This is the big thing, right? Is, you know, half the people out there are like, they're going to be spying in my computer, watching my fat bum change in the morning. It's like, oh, I mean, who cares if they even are? Like, I mean, good riddance, right? That's the last thing I'm worried about, is somebody staring at me through the camera on my computer screen. No, what I'm worried about is, you know, the cast from Shark Tank sitting quietly in a room surfing an AI-fed list of ideas that got pulled off of the nation's laptops and computers for that day. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about getting robbed of the opportunity to even become rich. I'm worried about control of this world in the hands of people who are so greedy that even if you were genius enough to come up with a brilliant idea and possibly join the upper ranks with your brilliant idea and income, that they would actually clip your wings before you ever got there. That's what I'm worried about. Take the idea for themselves because they can. That's what I'm worried about. And there'd be absolutely nothing we could do about it, especially if it's already in place. If once the infrastructure is in place, you know, once all these data farms are built and there's all this energy and monitoring, watching our every, you know, watching how many times you pinch a turd off in the morning, fuck's sakes. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not right, especially in a world where we only have 100 years to live. I mean, If you spend even 1 minute of your 100 years doing things that you know full well is going to ruin other people's 100 years and you don't care, oh man. I'm going to stay positive here. I'm going to wrap this up. And not get all ranty and venty, because I could go on for 2-3 hours and it could get really funny and really frustrated. I'm going to start talking about that. We'll save that for a different episode. But we'll leave on that note here. So don't squeeze too hard on your material belongings. Don't hold too tight. Just holding too tight will just make them slip away. The harder you squeeze, the slipperier it gets. All right. The harder you squeeze, the slipperier it gets. You know what I mean? Like if you were butt naked and you were chasing down some girl who was butt naked, and for some reason you were both completely covered in oil and you're a little bit faster than her, so every time you catch up to her, you try really hard to grab a hold of her, but she just slips right out of your hands, right? That's not gonna work. You can't achieve this by force. You need to gently guide it in the direction that you want. You know? When life pushes, you pull. And when life pulls, you push. One last card. What do we do? How do we make this day super awesome? You know? Keep the bad guys on the sidelines. Keep the annoying people out of my face. Oh. You know what? I know. One of the special ones. We'll take one of the special ones. One special card. Tell us what we got here, universe. Everybody's got to get to work, so. One final thing. The Glass Lake. That's my heaven. That is my heaven. So I wonder what your heaven is. Sometimes things line up just perfect in nature, in life. You know, ducks in a row, stars in a line. And it's magic. Magic. My heaven is a lake in the winter, frozen like glass. Absolutely smooth, tip to tip. Yeah, take a slap shot and the puck goes for like a kilometer. You know? Excuse me. Everybody's got a glass lake. It's like your happy place. You know, I remember Happy Gilmore movie. Go to your happy place, Happy. Right? You know, he's got midgets riding the little horses, and, you know, his grandma's there, is happy, and, you know, it's a good feeling, right? It's a glass lake. It's there. It's your glass lake. So keep that on your mind in tough times. You know, when the world's stacking up, when that stinky guy at the water cooler is just got you on your last legs, close your eyes and go to your happy place. Go to your glass lake. All right. Okay, everybody. We'll leave it at that. A little bit of insight. A bit of smiles, 20 miles, 20 smiles. We'll see you tomorrow. Keep it real. Keep your head up. Keep your stick on the ice. We're rooting for you.